Joining me now, Ahmed Rehab, who is the executive director of CAIR-Chicago, the Council on Islamic Relations. Ahmed, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, John, for having me.
Okay, so obviously you think Trump did a terrible thing, correct?
I do, but I want to stress I think so as an American more so than as a Muslim. As a Muslim, I'm proud of my faith. It's as strong as ever. It remains anti-terrorism, anti-extremism, anti-radicalism as ever. It's not threatened by morons spouting off. But as an American, not only am I threatened, but I feel deeply offended because he's putting my country through ill repute. He has no respect for the position for which he's running. He has no understanding of the Constitution of the United States. He's an embarrassment to the American people and to the United States.
All right, Ahmed. Mike McCall, chairman of the Homeland Security Committee in the House, announced yesterday, virtually at the same moment Trump was speaking, that the government now has proof that ISIS was trying to access the United States through the refugee program. We've learned that people around Syed Farouk and his wife knew that they had become ISIS sympathizers, and they didn't call and tell anybody. That includes his father and his mother, and one supposes people at the mosque. And if I can play you this, yesterday we had a Muslim from Philadelphia named Malik called, and I asked him, would you tell on somebody who was demonstrating ISIS leanings? He said this, number 44. If you see somebody getting all ISIS on us, are you going to drop a dime?
I ain't a snitch.
No snitching even at the mosque?
Nah, man.
No snitching. So, Ahmed, what people are worried about is that people, Muslims who knew Syed Farouk and his wife, knew what was going on and did not tell anybody. How can you assure us that as an American first and as a Muslim second, the Muslim community will cooperate with authorities as we try to find people like Syed Farouk?
First of all, I don't know who this Malik is, but his statements are not representative of the Muslims that I know or the Muslims that have been all over the media, that are running organizations, the leadership in this country, the people at the mosques, who obviously would be the first to call out any kind of criminal activity or any threat to this nation, our nation. And I would tell Malik that you're completely wrong. And you have people like him in every category who are involved with them, people who won't snitch on the mafia or on drug dealers or on this or on that. So to bring this kind of random person with his little statement as if it's representative of the Muslim sentiment in America is a bit ridiculous.
Well,
but in terms of assurances,
but I mean, what is representative? I mean, people knew.
What's representative
the father knew,
is the fact
mother knew.
Well, I'll tell you what's representative. You've had 355 mass shootings this year, okay? Two of them have been by Muslims. Now, the first one was not related to Islam. It was a Muslim, but he was an alcoholic individual who wasn't acting or purporting to act in the name of Islam. And the second one, it's being investigated, and it looks like we're being told this person was radicalized. But look at the larger picture. You have evil acts in this country occurring from people of all backgrounds. And we can become obsessed with one incident as if it's the only threat we have to lives, to security, and pretend that Muslims are somehow unique and having bad apples. But that's ridiculous.
There's no point in sidestepping. There are attacks.
That's not sidestepping. That's going right through the middle.
No, it is sidestepping because there are attacks, mass shootings, as you call them, by crazy people or racists. But there's only one kind of attack that seems to be driven by people's religious beliefs.
Bollocks. So you've seen attacks committed by people who say that they're acting in the name of their Christian beliefs not too long ago in Colorado Springs. I mean, your memory has to be very short to forget that. But
yeah,
again,
but there's no organization
okay.
telling them to go attack.
No. They are influenced.
They're not
by
getting
their warped
200,000 tweets a day, Ahmed.
Look. It's not saying this is okay. It's saying that when you look at these acts, you absolutely study what makes these people tick, and everybody steps in to prevent it. But when you zoom out and look at the Muslims or Islam and begin to make statements about them through these, non-representative, very, aberrational and very non-representative
Wait a minute, you're calling
marginal
Syed
groups,
Farouk...
then you're making a mistake.
No, but you're calling Syed Farouk aberrational.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course I'm calling
Then
him
you're calling
aberrational.
ISIS aberrational, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Look, I would even
So
go so far
then
as to say
how
ISIS
come
is a cult.
are
ISIS is
we
a cult.
getting the American Muslim community reporting on ISIS-leaning individuals?
When you talk about the American Muslim community, who are you talking about? Are you talking about there's some kind of monolith, this robot that walks in sort of in the same way, at the same moment? I mean, you're talking about leadership. You're talking about mosques. You're talking about the representative groups. You're talking about centers and institutions. And that is absolutely beyond debate. Every single press statement, every single press conference, the programs that we have, we don't wait for something like San Bernardino to begin to worry about keeping our country safe. And it's not just from people like Farouk, but it's from the mafia, from gangs, from drug dealers, from rapists, from child molesters.
Ahmed, we're focusing on people like Farouk.
Safety and security.
Can you give me examples of the American Muslim community turning in people like Farouk?
Yes, I think that there, without a doubt, look, there's a reason, just think for a moment, there is a reason why every time we hear about someone like this person happens to be operating not just under the radar of law enforcement, but under the radar of their imam and their mosque. It's not like they're embraced by the mosque or that the mosque knows about it or that the imam has given them instructions. And there is a reason that this is so. The reason is they know that they're unaccepted in this type of thinking and this type of behavior within the mainstream Muslim community. And so they have to keep it low-key and they have to stay under the radar because they know they'll be outed, they know they will not be accepted. And there's not one case that came through the mosque or through the imam of the mosque or through a Muslim organization. Everybody that you're talking about are lone wolves who either radicalized online, even their own families are mostly not aware of it. In this case, certainly so. I'm not a criminal attorney, and neither are you. The investigation is still ongoing. I'm not so much interested in commenting on the details of a criminal situation that Muslims have nothing to do with. When you say Muslims, you're talking about the community. Okay, an individual, if you have a white wacko that goes and shoots people up, I don't call you up and say, John, how did he get money in his bank? Explain to me how the KKK member...
I do think they're wackos. But let me back up here.
Yeah, but listen,
when Mike
I don't ask you how did the last KKK member who attempted to lynch a black person or shoot a church up, how he did this or that. You don't know. Because he doesn't represent you, and neither should you know.
When Mike McCall says ISIS is trying to gain access to this country through the refugee program, why shouldn't Americans say, yeah, maybe we should put a halt on Muslim immigration?
Because it's a stupid way to put security together. You don't go to the larger picture, to a wide dragnet. If I were to tell you that the next potential criminal that may enter this country may do so through a plane, do you halt all planes?
No, but Mrs. Farouk Malik came in on a K-1 fiance visa. Why shouldn't we halt those?
Because again, it's not a smart way to deal with security. When your first reaction is to shut down a door, okay, you're going to be left essentially in isolation. I mean, you have security, you have intelligence, you weed out the bad guys. That's why we have law enforcement. That's why we have intelligence agencies. They go to work. They go to hard intelligence. But it's easy to just say, shut it down. Well, you could do so, but guess what? You're not going to have an America anymore. You're going to have a whittled down little isolationist state that's cowering in fear because of one or two or three incidents, rather than stepping up and improving our intelligence and everybody banding together to keep all types of threats away from our society. What we do is then buckle down and shut down our lives. And that's just not an acceptable price. And that's what terrorism is all about, mind you, John. Terrorism is not about taking out 14 Americans. I mean, they don't believe that they're going to sort of end the United States through 14 or 15 or even 3,000. It is about scaring you into shutting down your own values, shutting down your own doors, buckling down and cowering in fear, and essentially strangling yourself into oblivion. And that's precisely what terrorism is all about. And unfortunately, people like Trump and many in the GOP are taking that bait.